Hello, and welcome to English for Everyone, where we practice real-life American English. Today we're going to learn to avoid some common mistakes, so let's get started. So when we use the word sense, which is the correct verb? Have or make? Well, they're both correct, but they mean different things. So let's take a closer look. First, let's talk about make sense. If something makes sense, that means it's logical. It's not confusing. It makes sense. Example. He's reading the book, but it doesn't make sense. It's confusing and he doesn't understand it. So I can say, it doesn't make sense to him. And if you're reading something and it doesn't make sense, you should read it again. Let's hear some examples of make sense.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yes! Yes, okay, so...
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
That makes sense to me because I love Jason, but it never seems to work out with him.
It all makes sense. It all makes sense.
It doesn't make sense to me. Judgment, control.
I know this doesn't make sense to you, but I can't just turn it off that fast.
Let's practice. He's reading the book, but it doesn't make sense to him. If it doesn't make sense, he should read it again. Pronunciation. Read it again. We hear the T in it pronounced as a fast D. Read it again. He should read it again. If it doesn't make sense, he should read it again. Let's practice. Does it make sense to him? That's right, it doesn't make sense to him. If it doesn't make sense, should he read it again? That's right, if it doesn't make sense, he should read it again. Now let's talk about have. We say have the sense. If you have the sense to do something, it means you have the brains to do the smart thing. That means you have the sense to do something. Example, he doesn't have the sense to come in out of the rain. He doesn't have the brains to do the smart thing and come in out of the rain. So I can say he doesn't have the sense to come in out of the rain. Let's hear some examples with have the sense.
Perhaps this time you will have the sense to stay out of my way.
Maybe he'll have the sense to get out from under you before he gets hurt.
She just sits in her nest, you know, and she didn't have the sense to run or fly or waddle.
Didn't notice you're dead. Just don't have the sense to lay down.
Let's practice. Does he have the sense to come in out of the rain? That's right, he doesn't have the sense to come in out of the rain. I can also say the good sense. He doesn't have the good sense to come in out of the rain. Let's hear some examples with have the good sense.
The only question is whether the Southern government will have the good sense to do it first and soon.
Will someone have the good sense to kill my brain, or will it come back as one of them?
Sometimes he doesn't have the good sense that God gave little chickens.
I have the good sense not to marry every woman I fall into bed.
And I'd have the good sense not to answer.
Pronunciation. Come in out of the rain. Come in out of the rain. We hear out of pronounced outa, outa. The T in out is pronounced as a fast D. It's between vowels. So we hear out of the rain. You can say out of the rain or out of the rain. We don't have to pronounce the V sound in of. He doesn't have the good sense to come in out of the rain. Let's practice. Does he have the good sense to come in out of the rain? That's right, he doesn't have the good sense to come in out of the rain. Or you can say common sense. He doesn't have the common sense to come in out of the rain. Let's hear some examples with common sense.
At least have the common sense to ditch your car.
The hell he unleashed on Carol and my daughter, I think you'd have the common sense to understand he could never be anywhere near her.
Because I know most of you are liars, but at least you have the common sense not to admit it in a crowd of people.
Let's practice. Does he have the common sense to come in out of the rain? That's right, he doesn't have the common sense to come in out of the rain. He's not very smart. That's the idea. So remember, if you're talking about something that's logical, you say it makes sense. You cannot say it has sense. We have to use make. It makes sense, it's logical. And if it's not logical, it's confusing, you could say it doesn't make sense. But we can use have and say have the sense. Have the good sense or have the common sense to do something. It means you have the brains to do the smart thing. It's a different idea. So keep watching to practice with more confusing vocabulary like this. Today we're talking about these three words: opponent, opposition, and competition. Let's take a closer look. First, let's talk about opponent. Opponent is countable. I can have one opponent and two opponents. These boxers are opponents. So we use opponents when you talk about sports. They are opponents. They're going to fight each other. So we call them opponents. Pronunciation. The first syllable is a relaxed sound like cup and up. Opponent. The stress is on the second syllable. We use a long O sound like no and go for the second syllable. Opponents. And the last syllable is relaxed. Nunts. Opponents. They are opponents. They're going to fight each other. Let's talk about it. The little guy is going to lose because his opponent is too big for him. The two opponents are not evenly matched. One is much bigger than the other one. So the little guy is going to lose because his opponent is much bigger than him. Let's practice. Are they opponents? That's right, they're opponents. Is the little guy going to lose? That's right, the little guy is going to lose. Why? Why is he going to lose? That's right, he's going to lose because his opponent is much bigger than him. Are the two opponents evenly matched? That's right, the two opponents are not evenly matched. It's not a fair fight. Now let's talk about politics. In politics, we can use the same word. We can say they are political opponents. They don't agree with each other. They are political opponents. They're candidates running against each other for political office. We call them political opponents. Let's practice. Are they political opponents? That's right, they're political opponents. Do they agree with each other? That's right, they don't agree with each other. Are they candidates running against each other for political office? That's right, they're candidates running against each other for political office. They're political opponents. Now let's talk about the word opposition. The people are not happy with the government that is in charge. We call them the opposition, or the political opposition. They don't like the political party that is in charge, so we call them the political opposition, or just the opposition. They're not happy with the government that is in charge, the government that is in power. They don't like them, they are the opposition. They're the political opposition. Let's practice. The people protesting, what are they called? Are they called the political opposition? That's right, they're called the political opposition. Or can I call them just the opposition? That's right, you can call them the opposition. And why do we call them the political opposition? Are they happy with the government that's in charge? That's right, they're not happy with the government in charge. That's why we call them the political opposition. Now let's talk about competition. Now we're talking about business. When we talk about companies or businesses, we say competition. It's not countable. I cannot say one competition and two competitions in this case. Example, does Walmart have competition? Does Walmart have any competition? Yes, they do. Target. Target is their competition. Target is Walmart's competition. They're similar stores. They sell similar things. So we can say Target is Walmart's main competition. Or I can switch it and say Walmart is Target's competition. Target has competition and Walmart is their competition. Let's practice. Does Walmart have any competition? That's right, Walmart has some competition. And who is their competition? That's right, Target is their main competition. Now let's switch it. Does Target have any competition? That's right, Target has some competition. And who is it? Who is Target's competition? That's right, Walmart is Target's competition. They are their main competition. So remember these three words: opponent, opposition, and competition. They're all describing similar things, but they're all a little different. I hope you liked this video and keep watching to learn more confusing vocabulary. And we'll see you next time. Today we're going to learn some confusing vocabulary, so let's get started. So the question, where's the good China? No, I'm not talking about the country China. I'm talking about something different. This is the good China. The word China refers to good dishes. Dishes made out of porcelain. And it's not countable. I cannot say one China and two Chinas. It's just the good China. Or you can say fine China, because usually it's expensive. It's the good dishes. And you can talk about plates like these. This is China. Or you can talk about a teapot or teacups. This is also China. Let's hear some examples of China talking about dishes.
Just nice to be sitting at a table set with fine china.
Just set out the good china.
Put those over there and be careful. That's fine china.
Lucy's putting the finishing touches on a fancy dinner table. Good china, silver, etc.
Hey, that's my good china. Use the good china.
It's fine china. Very fragile.
You idiot. Mom's good china.
Well, I think there's some candle holders in the china cabinet.
The china had never been used.
Does it wear silk? Or eat off fine china?
So the answer to the question, where's the good china? The good china is in the kitchen. Because you're talking about dishes. And what is it made of? It's made of porcelain. So china and porcelain are the same thing, but we use them differently. We use china when we talk about dishes. I don't have any good china. I don't have any fine china. What about you? Do you have any china? Very good. So china is made out of porcelain. Pronunciation, porcelain. The first syllable is the sound or, like door and more, por, porcelain. The next two syllables are not stressed, they are relaxed. Make the sound porcelain. Put the stress on the first syllable. Now you can say the dishes are made of porcelain, but we usually don't say that. We usually just say china when you're talking about dishes made of porcelain. So we use porcelain to talk about other things. Example, a sink. The sink is made out of porcelain. Or a toilet. A toilet is made out of porcelain. That's when we use the word porcelain. Let's practice. What is the sink made out of? That's right, the sink is made out of porcelain. What about the toilet? What is the toilet made out of? That's right, the toilet is made out of porcelain. That's the material. The same material as the good dishes, but we have different names for them. So remember, this is china. This is good china. This is fine china. You can say it's made out of porcelain, but we usually don't. We just call it china. And if you talk about a sink or a toilet, you cannot say it's made out of china. We say it's made out of porcelain, but they are the same material. Thank you for watching, and if you like this video, subscribe to our channel. And if you want to become a member, click the join button. And we'll see you next time.